Maya could already feel the judgment tightening around her neck like a noose, and the reunion hadn't even started yet. She sat stiffly at her desk, staring blankly at the blinking cursor on her laptop screen, pretending to answer emails she couldn't focus on. Her phone vibrated once, then again, and then 3 times in rapid succession. She didn't have to look to know it was the family group chat. Her mother had probably sent another picture of the lake house, with a caption like, "Can't wait to see everyone," followed by 20 heart emojis. Maya's stomach twisted. She knew what awaited her that weekend. Her aunt's sanctimonious smiles, her cousin's new fiancé, her grandmother's subtle but constant questions about marriage and grandchildren, and worst of all, her own mother's strained attempts to hide how disappointed she was that Maya always showed up alone. The last time, her uncle had actually said out loud, in front of everyone, "Still single? Huh? At least you're consistent." It had taken everything in her not to scream. That night, she cried in the upstairs bathroom with the faucet running to hide the sound. This time, she promised herself it would be different. This time, she wasn't going alone. She spun her chair slowly toward the other side of the office. Sloane sat 3 desks away, legs crossed confidently, black boots propped on the edge of her chair, typing one-handed while sipping an iced coffee. Her dark hair fell in soft waves, tucked behind one ear, revealing a small silver hoop earring that Maya had no business noticing, but always did. Sloane was magnetic, infuriatingly self-assured, the kind of woman who could walk into a room and have everyone orbiting around her like she was the sun. Hey, if you're enjoying this story, go ahead and drop a like to help us grow even more. And let me know in the comments, on a scale from 0 to 10, what score would you give this story so far? Your feedback makes all the difference. Maya, in contrast, felt like a lukewarm desk lamp. She had never said more than 3 words to Sloane outside of work-related small talk. They weren't friends. They weren't even particularly friendly. But desperate times called for ridiculous, humiliating, soul-crushing measures. She stood up. "Hey, Sloane." Sloane glanced up from her laptop, one brow raised. "Yeah." Maya's voice wobbled. "Can I ask you something insane?" That earned a full smile. "I'm listening." "So, I have this family thing coming up. A reunion. And it's always awful. And I kind of told them I wouldn't be coming alone this time. Which was stupid, because obviously I am." "Obviously," Sloane echoed with a teasing smirk. Maya's cheeks burned. "Anyway, I was wondering, hoping really if maybe you'd want to come with me."
As,
"My girlfriend." Sloane blinked once. Then again. "You're asking me to be your fake girlfriend." Maya nodded. "Just for the weekend. Just long enough to get them off my back. I swear, it wouldn't be anything weird. You'd get free food, a nice house by the lake, and endless opportunities to make fun of me." Sloane tilted her head. "And you picked me why?" "Because you're confident. And cool. And you won't crumble when my aunt starts in on me about how I'll die alone surrounded by cats." "You say that like it's a bad way to go." Maya laughed, nervously, but genuinely. "So, would you consider it?" There was a long pause. Sloane leaned back, studying her. "You know, I just might. I could use a getaway. And pretending to be your girlfriend sounds fun." Maya's heart stumbled in her chest. "Really?"
Sure.
"But if I'm doing this, we do it right. We need a backstory. Photos. Inside jokes. The whole couple package." Maya's eyes widened. "You're serious?" "Very." Sloane grinned. "If we're going to lie, we might as well make it believable." Maya should have felt relieved. Instead, she felt something else. A dangerous flicker in her chest. Like lighting a match too close to your skin. She swallowed it down. It was fake. It was a game. She just had to survive the weekend. That was all. The next morning, Maya was already questioning every decision that had led her to this moment. Her apartment, normally quiet and safely neutral, had transformed into a war room. There were open laptops on the couch, coffee mugs abandoned in various states of emptiness, and a whiteboard. Yes, a literal whiteboard, covered in hastily scribbled facts. First date. Korean barbecue. Inside joke. Rain boots on a sunny day. Her favorite movie, Eternal Sunshine. Mine, Clueless. Pet names, Babe, sometimes Honey, but only when sarcastic. Sloane lounged on Maya's couch like she owned it, hair tied up in a messy bun, hoodie half-zipped to reveal a tank top that was doing absolutely nothing to help Maya stay focused. She was chewing on the end of a Sharpie, eyes scanning the board with a look of absolute commitment. So, who made the first move? She asked casually, as if they were discussing weekend brunch plans and not constructing an elaborate romantic lie. Maya blinked. I did. You sure? Sloane turned to her with a smirk. You don't exactly radiate bold lesbian energy. Excuse me, Maya protested, crossing her arms. I can be bold. Prove it, Sloane said, sitting up. Tell me how you asked me out. You were having a bad day. I brought you coffee. Wrote my number on the cup.
Ooh, cliché.
I like it. Maya flushed. You rolled your eyes and said, Is this a bribe, or are you just that desperate? Sloane laughed, tipping her head back. Okay, now that sounds like me. You texted me later that night, Maya continued, gaining confidence, and said if the coffee had been a dirty chai instead of a latte, you might have fallen in love right then. Sloane's laughter softened. You're a better liar than I gave you credit for. Thanks. It's a compliment. Sloane leaned back again, stretching her arms over her head. Okay, let's talk PDA. Maya nearly choked on her water. What? Public displays of affection, Sloane said, like it was obvious. We're going to need a baseline. How touchy are we? Hand-holding? Arm around the waist? Do we kiss? Maya stared. You want to kiss me? Sloane raised an eyebrow. We're pretending to be a couple. Couples kiss.
Right. Yeah.
Of course. Maya's voice cracked embarrassingly. Just wasn't expecting to need choreography. It should look natural, Sloane said, moving closer. Too close. We can't plan everything, but we should at least practice. Practice? Maya's breath hitched.
Now.
Unless you want your family to call you out the second we walk in the door. Sloane was inches away, close enough for Maya to see the faint constellation of freckles across her nose, the way her lips curved when she smirked. Maya's heart was thundering in her ears. Okay, just for realism.
Sure.
For realism. And then, slowly, deliberately, Sloane leaned in and pressed her lips to Maya's. It wasn't soft. It wasn't tentative. It was confident, smooth, unhurried, like Sloane knew exactly what she was doing and had no interest in pretending otherwise. Maya had expected awkwardness, stiffness, a rehearsed platonic thing. But this was not platonic. Her hands found Sloane's waist, unthinking, and Sloane's fingers brushed under her jaw. It was one kiss, maybe 5 seconds. But when they pulled apart, Maya couldn't breathe. Sloane gave her a look, part challenge, part warning, part something unreadable. See, she said lightly. Totally convincing. Uh-huh, Maya managed, still dazed. She turned back to the whiteboard, pretending to study their fake anniversary date. We should, maybe take some photos. For Instagram. You know. To sell it. You want a fake soft launch? Sloane teased. Yes, Maya said, grateful for the change in subject. I'm pretty sure my cousin stalks my feed. Sloane pulled out her phone and walked over. Come here. Let's look in love. Maya stood beside her stiffly as Sloane lifted the camera. Relax. I'm not gonna bite. That's not what I'm worried about, Maya muttered. Sloane laughed again, and this time it was real. Not her usual cool detachment, but something warmer. You're cute when you're flustered. I'm not flustered, Maya lied. You're adorable, Sloane said, snapping a picture of them cheek to cheek. I might even believe you're in love with me. Might? You'll have to work harder to convince me. Maya looked at her. You're enjoying this. A little, Sloane admitted. You make a surprisingly good fake girlfriend. Maybe because I'm trying so hard not to mess it up. Or maybe, Sloane said, voice softer now, you're not pretending as much as you think. The words hung in the air for a second too long. Maya turned away, pretending to busy herself with her phone. We should pack. We leave tomorrow morning. Road trip, Sloane grinned. Can't wait. But that night, long after Sloane had gone home, Maya lay awake in bed, staring at the ceiling, lips still tingling. She had no idea what kind of storm she'd invited into her life. All she knew was that she was in trouble. The gravel crunched beneath the tires as Maya's car pulled up the long driveway, trees bending in over the road like they were trying to shield her from what was coming.
But there was no shielding from this.
The lake house loomed ahead, 3 stories of weathered wood, wraparound porches, and memories Maya didn't want to unpack. The sight of it sent a rush of nerves through her stomach. She parked slowly, carefully, like dragging time would somehow delay the inevitable. Sloane sat beside her in the passenger seat, sunglasses on, legs casually crossed, one arm draped out the window like they were arriving at a summer music festival and not the battleground of Maya's emotional trauma. So, Sloane said, glancing over. Scale of 1 to 10. How terrible is this about to be? Maya exhaled, gripping the steering wheel. Somewhere between soul-crushing and catastrophic. Got it, Sloane said brightly. Let's go ruin your family's expectations. They stepped out of the car, and before Maya could fully prepare herself, the front door burst open. Her mother came out first, arms open, eyes already misty. Maya, baby. Behind her trailed aunts, uncles, cousins, waves of relatives with practiced smiles and hungry eyes. Maya forced a grin, fighting the instinct to flinch. Hi, Mom. Then she turned to Sloane, suddenly hyper-aware of every move, every breath. Everyone, this is my girlfriend, Sloane. There was a collective pause, a hum of curiosity and disbelief. Then her mother stepped forward and wrapped Sloane in a hug. We're so happy to finally meet you, she said, and Maya didn't miss the emphasis on finally. Sloane hugged her back with effortless charm. Thank you for having me. Maya's told me so much about you all. Another lie, spoken so smoothly it sounded like gospel. One by one, the family members approached, introducing themselves with varying degrees of politeness. Her cousin Hannah gave Sloane an appraising look. So, you're the mystery girlfriend, she said with a smirk. I thought Maya was making you up. Oh, I'm very real, Sloane replied, slipping her arm around Maya's waist with a smile so convincing it made Maya's knees wobble. And very taken. Maya could feel every cell in her body react. It was too much, too perfect, and yet so far from fake. Inside, the house smelled like cinnamon, lemon, and anxiety. Old family photos lined the walls, and the sound of laughter echoed from the kitchen. Sloane took it all in with a calm detachment Maya both envied and depended on. We'll be sharing a room, Maya said quickly to her mother, who nodded, her face unreadable. Upstairs, Maya barely shut the door before collapsing onto the edge of the bed. That was intense. You did great, Sloane said, flopping down beside her. Your cousin's kind of hot, though. Should I be worried? Please don't ever say that again, Maya groaned, but she was laughing despite herself. You handled them like a pro. I'm a woman of many talents, Sloane said, then tilted her head. How are you feeling? Like I need a drink. Let's go be the charming couple downstairs, Sloane said, standing and holding out her hand. Then you can sneak me away later for wild, fake sex to keep up appearances. Sloane, Maya hissed, face flaming. Sloane only winked. Downstairs, dinner was already being laid out. Maya took a deep breath and slid into her seat, Sloane beside her, hands brushing under the table. Her mother watched them closely, and Maya knew she was evaluating everything. The way Sloane laughed, the way Maya looked at her, the way they moved in sync without trying. It was a performance, and Maya was terrified she'd miss a line. But then her aunt leaned forward.
The aunt, Diane.
Always armed with passive-aggressive missiles disguised as conversation. So, Sloane, she said with a too-sweet smile, what do you do for a living? Marketing, Sloane answered unbothered. Specifically campaign strategy. Ah, Diane said. I suppose that makes sense. You must be quite persuasive. I try, Sloane said, sipping her wine. I convinced Maya to date me, didn't I? The table chuckled. Diane didn't. And what are your intentions with my niece? Maya froze. Sloane paused, then set her glass down gently. My intentions?
Yes.
I assume you're not just having fun. Actually, Sloane said, her voice sharper now, I think Maya's the kind of person you don't just have fun with. She's smart, kind, funny as hell, and she deserves someone who sees that. The room went quiet. Maya's heart was pounding so loudly she could barely hear anything else. Sloane smiled sweetly. So, my intention is to treat her well.
Got a problem with that?
Diane blinked, clearly stunned. Maya's father snorted into his wine. Her mother looked like she might cry. The conversation moved on, awkwardly, but Maya couldn't stop staring at Sloane. You didn't have to do that, she whispered later, when they were finally alone. I know, but you meant it. Sloane looked at her.
Yeah.
I did. Maya's breath caught. The line between fake and real was already starting to blur, and she wasn't sure she wanted it to stop. The morning after their arrival, the house was already buzzing by 7 a.m. Clinks of silverware, voices carrying from the kitchen, the scent of strong coffee and freshly baked biscuits wafting up the stairs. Maya opened her eyes to the soft light filtering through the curtains and the unfamiliar weight beside her.
Sloane.
Her back was turned, the blanket barely covering one shoulder, dark hair tangled against the pillow. She looked peaceful in a way Maya wasn't used to seeing. No smirk, no armor, just soft skin and steady breaths. Maya stared too long.
She knew she did.
But she couldn't help it. For the first time since this all started, it hit her how close they really were. Not just physically, not just in proximity. Sloane had stood up for her, slept beside her, kissed her. Fake, yes, but the memory of that kiss still burned somewhere just beneath Maya's skin. Sloane stirred, turning over, eyes fluttering open. You watching me sleep? Maya sat up abruptly.
No.
I mean, maybe. You looked relaxed. I sleep like the dead, Sloane mumbled, rubbing her face. Did I drool? A little, Maya lied. Sloane smirked. Romantic. Breakfast was a circus. Her little cousins ran around screaming, her uncles debated politics too loudly, and her grandmother asked the same 3 questions on repeat. Through it all, Maya sat close to Sloane, responding with the right touches and knowing glances. Their performance was seamless. Too seamless. You two are adorable, said her cousin Jill between bites of toast. Seriously. I've never seen Maya smile this much. Maya flushed. Sloane, without missing a beat, reached across the table and brushed a crumb from Maya's cheek. She makes it easy. Jill gave a dreamy sigh.
Ugh.
I want what you have.
Do you?
Maya wondered, because she didn't even know what she had. After breakfast, needing air, Maya escaped to the garden behind the house, where the roses bloomed wild and the wooden bench under the oak tree had been her childhood sanctuary. She was only there for a few minutes before Sloane appeared, hands in the pockets of her jacket. Hiding, she asked. Regrouping, Maya replied. Also, maybe hiding. Sloane sat beside her, their knees brushing. You're doing great, you know. Everyone believes it. That's the problem. Maya looked down at her hands. It's starting to feel real. Sloane was quiet for a moment. What part? Maya hesitated. The way you look at me. The way I feel when you do. Sloane turned to her slowly. How do you feel? Maya gave a sad smile. Like maybe I'm not faking it anymore. The air between them shifted, thickened. Maya, Sloane said, voice low. You know this was supposed to be simple. I know, and I'm not. I don't do complicated. Neither do I. But here we are. Sloane reached out, took Maya's hand in hers. Maybe it doesn't have to be complicated. Maybe we just feel what we feel. Maya looked at their hands, at the way Sloane's thumb moved gently over her knuckles. And what do you feel? Terrified, Sloane admitted. But also drawn to you. Like I've been trying not to be. Maya's breath caught. Me too. The sound of a door slamming in the distance broke the moment, but not the intensity of it. They pulled apart, slowly, reluctantly. Come on, Sloane said, standing. Let's go be disgustingly cute again. We have a role to play, remember? Maya nodded, following her back into the chaos. But something had shifted now. Something real was blooming between them, dangerous and impossible to ignore. And no matter how well they played their parts, nothing could stop what was starting to take root underneath. It started innocently enough. Someone, probably Hannah, suggested a game after dinner, something light to bring everyone together. Maya groaned internally the moment someone said, "Never have I ever." She already knew this family tradition well. It always started with laughter and jokes, and ended in someone crying or storming out. Tonight, she wasn't sure who would snap first, herself or Sloane. They sat in a wide circle in the living room, wine glasses in hand. Maya sat on the edge of the couch, Sloane pressed close beside her, their thighs touching, her hand resting casually on Maya's knee. A little too casual. Maya was already hyper-aware of the warmth bleeding through denim, of how her skin sparked under every accidental brush. "Okay," said Hannah, grinning devilishly. "Never have I ever lied about a relationship." The air in the room shifted. Maya froze for a beat too long. Sloane was the first to raise her glass and take a sip. "College," she said breezily. "Told my mom I was dating my roommate, so she'd stop asking questions." Everyone laughed. The tension diffused. Maya forced a chuckle and followed suit with her sip. But her heart was pounding. This was dangerous. Too close. "Never have I ever," said Jill next, "had a crush on someone completely off-limits." Sloane raised her glass again, slow, deliberate. She didn't say a word, just sipped, her eyes locked on Maya's. Maya felt like the entire room disappeared. Her pulse raced. She didn't drink, but her throat felt dry. "Your turn, Maya," someone prompted. She blinked.
Right.
Never have I ever kissed someone just to see what it would feel like. A few people drank, including Sloane. Maya did too. They didn't look at each other that time, but the air between them throbbed like a second heartbeat. The game went on, but Maya could barely focus. Every time Sloane shifted closer, every glance, every smirk, it was like she was unraveling Maya one nerve at a time. At some point, Sloane leaned in and whispered, "We're doing too good a job." Maya swallowed. "What do you mean?" "Your aunt is watching us like we're about to make out on the coffee table." "Are we?" Sloane laughed under her breath. "Only if you want to give them a heart attack." "Not tonight," Maya whispered, but her voice lacked conviction. She didn't trust herself anymore. When the game finally ended, and people began trickling off to bed or to the back deck for nightcaps, Maya stayed behind to help clean up. Sloane offered, but Maya waved her off. She needed a moment to breathe. Or maybe to stop breathing entirely. She was just stacking glasses when a pair of arms slid around her waist from behind. She didn't have to turn. "They're gone," Sloane said softly. "Just us now." Maya leaned back instinctively, and her body betrayed her, relaxing into the embrace, craving it. "We shouldn't, I know." Sloane's hands didn't move. Her breath was warm against Maya's neck. "But I can't keep pretending this doesn't feel real." "It's not supposed to be," Maya whispered. "It's supposed to be safe." "Does this feel safe to you?" Sloane murmured. Maya turned slowly, and their faces were inches apart. She could smell the faint scent of Sloane's shampoo, feel the way her chest rose and fell with each shallow breath. Her hand slid up to Maya's waist, and for a moment, the whole world held its breath. "Tell me to stop," Sloane said. Maya didn't. She kissed her. And this time, it wasn't rehearsed. It wasn't calculated. It was soft at first, hesitant, like they were testing something fragile, but it deepened quickly. The kind of kiss that drowns thoughts and burns restraint. Maya clutched at Sloane's jacket, and Sloane pulled her closer, like she couldn't stand the inches between them. It was messy, desperate, real. When they finally broke apart, Maya's lips were swollen, her heartbeat chaotic. "This is a bad idea," she said, breathless. "The worst," Sloane agreed. But she didn't let go. Neither of them moved. Outside, someone laughed on the deck. The illusion of distance returned, reminding them that walls had ears and nothing stayed secret for long in this house. "We should go upstairs," Maya said quietly. "Yeah." Sloane brushed her fingers down Maya's arm. "Before I do something even dumber." They climbed the stairs in silence, not touching, not speaking, but the air between them crackled the whole way. And when they lay side by side in the dark, fully clothed, not touching, not kissing, not speaking, Maya had never felt more consumed in her life. Sleep didn't come easy, because something inside her had shifted, something irreversible, and tomorrow there would be no way to pretend that line hadn't been crossed. Maya woke before the sun. The light hadn't yet crept through the blinds, but she could feel the weight of the morning pressing down on her chest like gravity had doubled overnight. Sloane was still asleep, facing the wall, her body curled slightly, as far from Maya as physically possible in the bed they shared. It wasn't just space, it was a wall, a silence that screamed. Maya laid there unmoving, staring at the ceiling, every inch of her body replaying the kiss from the night before. Over and over again. The feel of Sloane's lips, the way her fingers gripped her jacket like she didn't want to let go, the way her breath had caught when they pulled apart. But that was last night. And this was morning. And Sloane hadn't said a word. Not when they climbed into bed. Not when Maya hesitated, waiting for something, anything, that acknowledged what had happened. And now, she wasn't sure if it had happened at all, or if she'd dreamed it. When the first sounds of footsteps echoed through the hallway, Sloane stirred. Maya turned her head, hopeful. But Sloane only sat up, wordlessly, and crossed the room to her suitcase. She changed quickly, pulling on jeans and a black sweater, tying her hair up in that effortless way that made Maya want to scream. "Morning," Maya said quietly. Sloane didn't look at her. "Morning." One word. Cold. Distant. Maya felt the rejection in her bones. "Are you okay?" she tried. Sloane finally glanced at her.
"Yeah."
"I'm fine." She wasn't. And Maya knew it. But before she could push, someone knocked on the door. "Breakfast's ready," called her cousin through the wood. Sloane opened the door and walked out without looking back. Maya sat there alone, her mouth dry, heart pounding for all the wrong reasons now. Downstairs, the kitchen was already full of noise. Her mother handed out plates, cousins fought over bacon, and her uncle told the same story he told every damn year. Maya slid into her chair slowly, her eyes tracking Sloane, who sat at the opposite end of the table this time. Not next to her. Not touching. Not even pretending. Something had changed. Something had broken. "Rough night?" her Aunt Diane asked, giving her a too knowing smile. "You look tired." "I'm fine," Maya said flatly. Her mother frowned from across the table. "Is everything okay with you and Sloane?" "Yes," Maya lied. "We just didn't sleep well." "Happens in relationships," Jill said. "Highs and lows. That's how you know it's real." Maya almost laughed. If only they knew. The conversation moved on, but Maya couldn't focus. Every second that passed without Sloane's eyes meeting hers felt like another crack in the dam. They were supposed to be convincing.
They were supposed to be in sync.
But right now, they were two strangers in borrowed roles. After breakfast, everyone migrated to the backyard for a casual family lunch that was anything but. Long tables under the trees, mismatched chairs, pitchers of lemonade and wine sweating in the sun. The perfect setting for uncomfortable conversations. Maya found herself next to her mother, with Sloane directly across, locked in conversation with one of her cousins, laughing a little too loudly. It was performative. Not for the family, for Maya. "You seem distant," her mother said gently. Maya flinched. "I'm not. Is it about last night?" "What do you mean?" Her mother hesitated. "I saw you two in the kitchen. After the game." Maya's blood ran cold. "You were watching?" "Not on purpose. I just saw the way she held you. The way you looked at her." Maya stared at her plate. "It's complicated. It doesn't have to be," her mother said. "If you love her, tell her." Maya looked up, eyes burning. "What if she doesn't feel the same?" Her mother smiled softly. "Then, at least you won't spend your life wondering." But Maya didn't have time to respond, because just then, Diane spoke up loudly. So, Sloane, what are your family values? The table went silent. Sloane paused, her fork midair. Excuse me? Well, Diane continued, you're dating my niece. I think it's fair to ask what kind of future you see. Marriage?
Kids?
Or is this more of a modern situation? Maya's hands clenched under the table. That's not appropriate, she said. I'm just curious, Diane said with a shrug. I mean, if this is just a vacation fling, it's not, Maya snapped. The entire table turned to look at her. This isn't a fling. And Sloane doesn't owe you a damn explanation. Sloane's eyes widened slightly. Maya stood. In fact, I'm done letting you talk to me like I'm a disappointment just because I don't fit your picture of what a woman should be. Maya, her mother warned gently. But she was shaking now, full of heat and shame and fury. I spent years trying to make myself small enough to be accepted by this family. I won't do it anymore. Not for you. Not for anyone. She turned to Sloane, her voice softer now, but no less trembling. And if I'm being honest, I didn't fake a single moment of what I feel about you. Not one. A long silence fell. Someone coughed. Her grandmother blinked rapidly. Diane looked scandalized. And Sloane just stared at her unmoving. No expression. No reaction. Then, after an agonizing pause, she stood and walked away. Maya's stomach dropped. Everyone was still staring, but she no longer cared. She turned and followed Sloane through the back path around the house, calling out once they were out of sight. Sloane. Sloane stopped. Her back was stiff, arms crossed. Why did you say that? Because it's true. You're not supposed to catch feelings, Maya. Too late. Sloane turned, eyes flashing. You think you're the only one confused? The only one who didn't mean to fall into something real? Maya's heart stuttered. Then why are you pulling away? Because I don't know how to want something like this. I don't know how to be wanted by someone like you. Maya took a step closer. Then let's figure it out. Together. Sloane's breath hitched. She looked down, then back up. And for the first time since that night, Maya saw it, the vulnerability, the fear, the hope. Sloane nodded once, barely. Okay.
Just that.
One word. But it was enough.
For now.
They didn't talk much for the rest of the afternoon. Not out of anger, not even out of awkwardness, but because there was too much weight between them. Words felt like tightropes, too fragile to hold the truth without breaking. Maya sat on the edge of the dock as the sun sank into the lake, her feet dangling above the water, mind spiraling. Behind her, the house was buzzing with preparations for the big family dinner. The real one, as her mom called it. The one where everyone dressed up, smiled wider, and pretended harder. She didn't turn when she heard footsteps approach, but she didn't have to. Sloane sat beside her, legs crossed, silent for a moment before speaking. I'm sorry, Maya blinked. For what? For disappearing earlier. For making you feel like you said something wrong when you didn't. Maya glanced at her. I didn't expect you to say anything back. I just needed to say it. I know. But I should have said something. Anything. And the truth is, everything I said about not doing complicated, that was a lie. I just didn't want to get hurt. Maya smiled, bitter and soft. I think we passed the point of not getting hurt a long time ago. Sloane nodded slowly. So, what do we do now? Maya looked at the water. We keep pretending. For them. She paused. But we stop pretending with each other. Sloane reached out, her pinky brushing Maya's.
Deal.
Dinner was a performance, again. The long table was covered in candles and linen and hand-folded napkins shaped like swans. Maya sat to the right of her mother, Sloane to her left, and every time someone made a toast or offered a comment about what a beautiful couple they were, Maya had to remind herself not to look too deeply into it, not to hope too hard. But there was no hiding what was happening beneath the surface. Sloane's hand found hers under the table and didn't let go. Their fingers lay slowly, naturally, and stayed there even when Diane gave her usual tight-lipped smile. Maya felt grounded in that touch, a secret tether between two people trying not to drown. "So, Maya," her uncle said between bites, "how's work going? I heard from your dad you're still at that agency." "Yeah," Maya said. "It's busy." "Good." "And what about you, Sloane?" her mother asked. "Do you see yourself staying in New York long term?" "Maybe," Sloane replied easily. "If there's something worth staying for." Her thumb brushed Maya's palm once. Maya swallowed hard. Every little moment was a test now. Every gaze, every shared look, every smile that lingered 1 second too long. Later, when dessert was served and people started drifting into smaller conversations, Maya excused herself and walked out to the back porch to breathe. The stars were bright, the air cooler, quieter. She leaned on the railing, eyes closed. "You okay?" Sloane's voice behind her, soft. Maya nodded. "Just needed air." "I lied earlier," Sloane said, stepping closer. "About staying." Maya turned. "What do you mean?" "I wasn't just being charming at dinner. I've been thinking about leaving the city.
For a while now.
But if this," she paused, gesturing between them, "if it becomes something real, maybe I won't." Maya's heart kicked painfully in her chest. "And is it?" "I don't know," Sloane said honestly. "But I want it to be. I want to try." Maya stepped forward without thinking, and Sloane met her halfway. Their foreheads touched first, like they were grounding each other, like they needed contact to stay upright. "We're a mess," Maya whispered. "A beautiful one," Sloane whispered back. They didn't kiss. Not yet. But they stayed like that for a long time, breathing each other in, letting the closeness speak where words had failed. When they went upstairs later, they undressed in silence, backs turned, movements gentle. Maya slipped into bed first. Sloane joined her a second later, and this time, they met in the middle. No hesitations. No barriers. Sloane's arm curled around her waist, Maya's face pressed against her collarbone. They said nothing, but when Sloane pressed the softest kiss to Maya's forehead, Maya closed her eyes and let herself believe, just for that moment, that maybe, just maybe, none of this had to end when the weekend did. It had been 2 days since the kiss, 1 day since the confession, and barely a handful of hours since Sloane had whispered against Maya's skin in the dark that she didn't want this to end. Maya had clung to that whisper all night, like a thread tying her to something solid in the chaos. But that morning, everything shifted. Again. It started with the family hike, an annual tradition Maya had always hated, but this year it felt like a necessary distraction. She wore her oldest sneakers, the ones with the fraying laces and a rip in the toe, while Sloane showed up in sleek black boots, sunglasses, and a casual smirk that made Maya's stomach twist. They hadn't kissed again, hadn't talked about what they were anymore. But Sloane still held her hand on the trail, still laughed at her terrible jokes, still glanced at her when she thought Maya wasn't looking. And Maya was starting to believe, foolishly maybe, that they were going to be okay. Until they weren't. Halfway through the hike, they stopped for water and snacks. That's when Maya heard it. "Maya?" The voice came from behind her, soft, a little uncertain, and immediately familiar. Maya turned. Her blood ran cold. Aaron. Aaron, short brown hair, freckles, green eyes that used to undo Maya with a single glance. Aaron, her college girlfriend, the one that got away. Or more accurately, the one that walked away when Maya wasn't ready to follow. What are you doing here?" Maya asked, stunned. Aaron laughed awkwardly. "I'm dating your cousin Daniel." "Small world, huh?" Maya blinked. Of course. Of course.
Right.
"That's unexpected. I didn't know you'd be here," Aaron said quickly. "I mean, Daniel mentioned a family trip, but it's fine," Maya interrupted. "Totally fine." But it wasn't. And Sloane noticed. From across the clearing, she watched the interaction with unreadable eyes, arms folded tightly across her chest. Maya glanced at her, hoping for rescue. Sloane didn't move. Aaron gave a small smile. "So, how have you been?" "Good," Maya said. "Actually great. This is Sloane." Sloane walked over then, cool and graceful, a quiet storm behind mirrored lenses. "Hi," she said, offering her hand. I'm the girlfriend. Aaron shook it politely. Nice to meet you. Likewise, Sloane said, voice smooth. Too smooth. Maya's mentioned you. Maya stared. I haven't. Sloane smiled wider. I can tell a lot without words. The air between the three of them turned ice cold. Erin looked like she wanted to say something else, but Daniel called for her, and she waved awkwardly before walking away. Sloane waited until she was gone before speaking. So that was Erin. Yep, Maya said, rubbing her arms. From college. The one you said broke your heart. Maya flinched. I never said that. You didn't have to. Maya turned. Are you jealous? Sloane scoffed. Of course not. But her tone betrayed her. It's just interesting. Watching you light up like that. I didn't light up. I panicked. Sure. Sloane, forget it, she snapped, already walking ahead. Maya stood there for a beat too long, heart racing with frustration. And something else. Something deeper. Later that evening, back at the house, the air was tense. No one else noticed, not with music playing, drinks flowing, everyone laughing by the fire pit. But Maya felt it. Sloane barely looked at her, barely spoke, and it was driving her insane. When she finally cornered her in the hallway by the stairs, Maya didn't bother pretending. Are you mad at me? No. Then why are you acting like this? Sloane's eyes met hers, sharp and shining. Because seeing you with her made me feel like I don't belong here. Like this is still a game, and I'm losing. Maya stepped closer. This isn't a game anymore. Then what is it? It's real. Sloane looked away. It wasn't supposed to be. I know, but it is. Then say it. Maya didn't hesitate. I want you, not her. You. Sloane's breath caught. For a second, everything went still. Then she grabbed Maya by the wrist and pulled her upstairs, fast, urgent, like she couldn't hold it in anymore. The door to their shared room clicked shut behind them. The silence inside was deafening. Say it again, Sloane whispered. I want you, Maya said, louder now. I want you, and I don't care who sees it. Maya, I kissed you because I wanted to. I sleep beside you because I need to. And when you hold my hand, it feels like the only real thing in this whole weekend. Sloane stepped forward. I'm scared. Me too. But I want you anyway. The words cracked something wide open. The kiss that followed wasn't careful. It was fire. Weeks of longing, of pretending, of denying. All of it released in a rush. Sloane pushed her gently against the door, her hands on Maya's hips, lips moving like she was starving. Maya responded in kind, desperate and sure. Clothes were half removed, breath stolen, necks kissed with reverence and need. They didn't go all the way. Not yet. But the intimacy was unlike anything Maya had ever known. Not just heat, not just tension. Connection. Raw and real and terrifying. When they finally collapsed onto the bed, breathless and tangled, Maya looked at her. You still scared? Sloane nodded. Yeah. Me too. Sloane exhaled. But I don't want to stop. Then don't. And for once, they didn't. The morning after felt quieter than it should have. Not in a bad way, not yet, just softer. Like the air between them had shifted into something new, something fragile and precious, and too full of meaning to speak aloud. Maya woke up with Sloane's hand curled around her waist, her body warm against her back, their breathing slow and synced like the night hadn't ended. For a moment, Maya didn't move. She just lay there, eyes open, staring at the soft light through the window, trying to commit the moment to memory. The safety, the warmth, the simplicity of it. Because part of her already knew it wouldn't last. Hey, Sloane murmured sleepily against her shoulder. Hey, Maya whispered back. Neither of them moved. Not for a long time. Eventually, the world forced itself back in, knocking on doors, footsteps down the hall, the sound of her aunt yelling about bacon burning. Sloane pulled away slowly, sitting up and rubbing her eyes. We should probably pretend to be decent. You mean pretend we didn't nearly tear each other's clothes off last night? Maya teased. Sloane smirked, but there was a shadow in her eyes. Exactly. Maya noticed it, that flicker of distance, but said nothing. She kissed Sloane's shoulder instead. Come on. Let's be disgustingly cute and make everyone uncomfortable. Downstairs, things were almost normal. Her cousin teased them about how late they slept in, her mother raised an eyebrow at their synchronized yawns, and Diane, of course, made a passive-aggressive comment about young love and no responsibilities. Maya rolled her eyes and tightened her grip on Sloane's hand. But Sloane wasn't fully there. Not really. She smiled when she had to, touched Maya's knee under the table, made the right jokes at the right times. But something had shifted again. And this time, Maya didn't know how to name it. It got worse after lunch. Maya was helping her mom clear plates when the conversation shifted, slowly, casually, into dangerous territory. So, her mother said as she dried a dish, "What happens after this weekend?" Maya froze. What do you mean? With Sloane. Is this something serious? It feels serious, Maya said softly. It is serious. Her mother paused. You've never brought anyone here before. Never even mentioned dating someone. I didn't want to bring someone unless it meant something. And does it? Yes, Maya said, firmer this time. But her mother waited. But I don't know what she wants. Have you asked her? Maya looked down at the towel in her hands. Not directly. Then maybe you should. Before it's too late. The conversation stuck to her skin. Hours later, when the sun began to fall again and everyone drifted into afternoon quiet, naps and board games and too much wine, Maya wandered into the upstairs hallway in search of Sloane. She found her near the guest room, alone, arms crossed, leaning against the wall. Hey, Maya said softly. Hey. Everything okay? Sure. That lie again. Maya stepped closer. Can we talk? But before Sloane could answer, voices drifted up the stairs. Maya's mother and Diane, in the kitchen, unaware they were being heard. She says it's serious, Diane murmured. But you don't believe it. I want to, her mother said. But Sloane, I don't know. She doesn't seem like someone who stays. She seems like someone who runs. Exactly. And Maya's heart isn't built for temporary. Maya felt the words like a knife. But she wasn't the only one who heard. Sloane had gone completely still. Sloane, Maya whispered. But Sloane shook her head. I need a minute. Please don't shut down again. I'm not shutting down, Sloane said, voice tight. I'm just realizing that maybe they're right. What are you talking about? Maybe I don't belong in your world, Maya. Maybe I never did. You do. Do I? Because it sure sounds like I'm just another temporary mistake waiting to happen. You're not a mistake. Then tell me what we are. Maya froze. The hallway was too quiet, the air too thick, and the silence, that awful silence, stretched between them again. I don't know, Maya whispered. I want to say something perfect, but I don't have it yet. That's the problem, Sloane said softly. I think I've been waiting for you to say something that proves this is real, and now I'm realizing I've been filling in the blanks myself. Maya felt her throat close. Don't walk away. I won't, Sloane said. Not yet. And then she was gone. Not forever. Just enough to remind Maya that this was no longer a performance. This was love. And love, real love, came with risk. She found her at the lake. Of course she did. It had always been the quietest part of the house, the one place Maya had escaped to since she was a teenager, and somehow, Sloane had sensed it too. She was standing at the edge of the wooden dock, arms wrapped around herself, the wind gently tousling her hair. Maya approached slowly, cautiously, her boots crunching over the fallen leaves. She didn't speak at first, just stood beside her, close but not touching. This place is beautiful, Sloane finally said. Peaceful. Yeah, Maya answered. It used to be the only place I could breathe. Sloane nodded, eyes still fixed on the water. Now it feels like the only place I can think. A long silence stretched between them, thick with everything that hadn't been said. I heard what they said, Sloane murmured. Your mom.
Diane.
About me. Maya swallowed hard. They don't know you. but they saw something you haven't said out loud. Like what? That I'm temporary. That you think I'll leave eventually. That this, whatever this is, isn't built to last. Maya turned to face her fully. Is that what you think? Sloane didn't answer right away. Her eyes shimmered, but not with tears, with restraint. With exhaustion. I think I've always been someone who runs first. Before I can be hurt. Before I get too close. Before someone sees the parts of me that aren't shiny or strong. I've seen those parts, Maya said gently. And I'm still here. Are you? The question hit hard. Maya felt it in her chest.
Yes.
I'm here. I've been here since the minute you kissed me and made me forget how to breathe. I've been here since you defended me at that damn table. I've been here every time I reached for your hand and you didn't pull away. Sloane looked at her now, finally. Really looked. And Maya stepped closer. I'm scared too. Terrified, actually. I've spent so much of my life pretending to be okay, pretending not to need anyone, pretending that I'm fine on my own. But you, she took a breath. You ruined that. And I don't want to go back to before you. The vulnerability cracked Sloane open. She dropped her arms and closed the space between them, her forehead resting lightly against Maya's. I don't want to go back either, she whispered. Then stay, Maya breathed. Choose to stay. But just then, Sloane's phone buzzed in her jacket pocket. She pulled it out, hesitated, then read the screen. Her face changed. Maya saw it immediately. What is it? It's work, Sloane said. I wasn't supposed to get service out here, but they need me back in the city. When? Tonight. Maya stepped back, heart racing. And are you going? Sloane looked torn in half. I don't know. You told me this wasn't just fake anymore. That it was real. So prove it. Sloane's voice broke slightly. You're asking me to walk away from a career I've built for years.
No, Maya said.
I'm asking you to choose something with me. To choose us. Sloane turned away, walked a few steps, then back again. I want to. God, I want to. But I've never chosen someone over work. Over my own plan. Maybe that's why nothing's ever worked before. The words hung in the air. Too loud. Too true. Sloane stared at her, breathing hard. Then, slowly, she dropped the phone into her pocket and stepped forward again. Okay, she said. Okay. Maya whispered. I'll stay.
For now.
For you. Maya's breath caught. You mean it? I don't know how long I'll be good at this. At letting someone in. But I want to try. And just like that, Maya threw her arms around her, holding her like she was afraid the wind would steal her away. I'm not asking you to be perfect, she said into her neck. Just to not disappear. Deal, Sloane whispered. Later that night, back in their room, the quiet between them was different. Warmer. Braver. They undressed slowly, not out of urgency but trust. There was no pretending this time. No one to convince. Only each other. They lay skin to skin under the soft covers, mouths tracing secrets into collarbones, fingers drawing promises onto backs. It wasn't rushed. It wasn't messy. It was everything Maya had been afraid to want. Gentle, deep, real. Afterward, Sloane rested her head on Maya's chest, one arm curled around her middle. I'm still scared, she murmured. Me too, Maya whispered. But I think that's what makes it real. Sloane nodded, sleep pulling at her. Don't let me run. I won't, even if I try. Especially then. And that night, for the first time in a long time, neither of them dreamed of being alone. The morning after was too bright. Not metaphorically. The sunlight really was too much, streaming through the window and warming the sheets still tangled around their legs. But Maya didn't mind. She woke with Sloane pressed into her back, one hand lazily curled against her stomach, their breaths moving in unison. It felt like something whole. Something that didn't need fixing or pretending or justifying. But Maya knew the moment wouldn't last. Nothing ever stayed untouched in this house. Especially not secrets. Downstairs, the mood had shifted. It wasn't just Maya's imagination. The glances were longer, the smiles tighter, the silences too full. Something had been noticed. Or maybe everything had. At breakfast, Jill leaned over with a grin, too knowing. You two are glowing. What? Maya blinked. You're acting different. More in sync. We've always been in sync. Jill raised an eyebrow.
Sure.
But now it looks less like an act. Maya nearly choked on her coffee. Sloane, to her credit, didn't flinch. She just took another bite of toast and said, maybe it's not an act anymore. That shut Jill up for a moment. But Diane, of course, was less subtle. So, she said, loud enough for everyone to hear, if this isn't pretend, when do we get the full story? I'd love to hear how this all started. Really started. Maya froze. Her mother looked up slowly from her plate. Diane, she said carefully, maybe now isn't. No, Maya interrupted, voice steady. She's right. Sloane turned her head sharply. Maya, we lied, Maya said, eyes scanning the table. We lied about how we met, about how long we've been together, about a lot. The silence was instant, heavy. Why? Her father asked softly. Because I was tired of showing up here alone, of being the only one without someone, of the looks and the questions and the pity. Her voice cracked but didn't break. So, I asked someone to pretend to love me.
A beat.
And then I did the stupidest thing imaginable, she added, her eyes now on Sloane. I actually fell for her. No one moved. No one spoke. Until Sloane did. That makes two of us. The air shifted again. Not heavy now, but electric. Something undeniable passing between them. But Diane, ever the voice of discord, leaned back and said, so you tricked us. Lied to all of us.
I did, Maya said.
But not about how I feel now. Her mother stood, quiet and graceful. You could have just told us the truth, Maya. I didn't know what it was yet, Maya whispered. Her mother looked at Sloane. And you? What do you want? Sloane opened her mouth. Closed it. Then her phone rang.
Loud.
Invasive. Unavoidable. She silenced it, but it buzzed again. It's my job, she said quietly. Maya's chest tightened. Is it urgent? It's the second time they've called this morning. I think they want me to fly back tonight. The table wasn't just silent now, it was gone. Maya only heard the rushing in her ears. Are you going? She asked. Sloane looked at her, and in that split second, Maya saw every thought racing behind her eyes.
Career. Control. Fear.
And maybe, just maybe, love. I don't know, Sloane admitted. Can we talk about it? Maya asked. In private. Of course. They excused themselves and walked out to the back porch. The silence followed. I don't want to be selfish, Maya began. I know what this job means to you. You're not selfish, Sloane said. You're brave. You told your entire family the truth. I've never seen anyone do that before. Then why do I feel like I'm about to lose you? Sloane stepped closer. Because I'm scared. Because I've never stayed this long, anywhere. Because no one's ever asked me to stay and meant it. I do, Maya said, voice low. I mean it. And I want to choose you, Sloane whispered. But I need to know you'll choose me back. Not just here. Not just at the lake house. In the city. In the mess. In the real world. Maya reached out, her fingers tangling with Sloane's. I will. Say it. I want you, Maya breathed. All of you. Not just this version. The real one. The scared one. The messy one. The one who's still figuring it out. Sloane leaned her forehead against hers. Then maybe I can stay. Maybe. I want to. But I need time. You have it. They stood there in the golden light of late morning, holding onto each other like the world might fall away if they let go. And maybe it would. But maybe, finally, that didn't matter. The rain came fast. It wasn't a slow, romantic drizzle. It was loud, insistent, soaking the world in seconds. The sky turned gray around noon, and by mid-afternoon, the lake had vanished beneath sheets of water, the dock now just a ghost behind the storm. Maya stood by the window of the upstairs hallway, arms crossed tightly against her chest, watching the water race down the glass. She could hear voices downstairs. Laughter, board games, Diane complaining about the power flickering. But all she could think about was the bag Sloane had packed. Quietly, without saying goodbye. Just in case, Sloane had told her hours earlier. Just in case she chose to leave. The words felt like a bruise now, dark and aching under the skin. Maya hadn't followed her then.
She didn't beg.
She didn't cry. But every minute that passed stretched tighter around her lungs. Finally, as thunder cracked in the distance, Maya heard footsteps behind her. She didn't turn. "I thought you were gone." "I almost was," Sloane said. Her voice was soft. "The car couldn't get through the storm." "Lucky storm," Maya whispered. "It bought me a little more time," Sloane said, stepping closer. "I don't know what to do with it." Maya finally turned around. "Then stay. Use the time to stay." "Maya, don't say you're scared." "I know you are."
So, say something else.
"Say anything else." Sloane looked like she might break. "I didn't pack that bag because I want to leave. I packed it because I don't know how to stay." "You're already doing it," Maya said. "You're here. But for how long? Does it matter?" Maya stepped forward. "Every day we wake up and choose each other. That's how it works. Not forever all at once. Just today." The lights flickered. The thunder boomed. And neither of them moved. "I love you," Maya said. Just like that. No drama. No build-up. Just a quiet, steady truth. Sloane blinked. "What?" "I love you," Maya repeated. "You don't have to say it back. You don't have to do anything. But I needed you to know before you disappear again." Sloane stood there, breathing like each inhale was a fight. Then, finally, she stepped forward and took Maya's face in her hands. "You idiot," she whispered. "I've been in love with you since you asked me to pretend." Maya laughed. Wet, shaky real. "That's the worst love story I've ever heard." "It's ours," Sloane said. "And it's not over." The kiss this time wasn't like the others. It wasn't about desperation or tension or need. It was about home. About choosing to stay. Even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. They stayed like that for a long time, forehead to forehead, breath to breath, while the storm howled around them like it was trying to blow the whole house down. But nothing could touch them now. Nothing could unmake what had just been spoken. Later, when they lay curled on the couch under a blanket, their fingers intertwined, the lights flickering gently in the dim room, Maya looked at her again. "You still scared?" "Yes," Sloane whispered. "But I'm not running anymore. Promise." "Promise." And outside, the storm finally began to quiet. The house was quiet in that specific way it only ever was on Sunday mornings, heavy with the weight of goodbye, still carrying the warmth of the weekend, but already bracing for the emptiness that followed. Maya stood in the kitchen, barefoot, holding a mug of coffee that had long since gone cold. Outside, the lake shimmered under the soft light of morning, the dock still damp from last night's rain. The storm had passed, but something inside her hadn't. Sloane hadn't said much since their conversation during the storm. She'd stayed, wrapped around Maya through the night, breathing against her skin like she was afraid to let go. But now, with sunlight filtering in and reality closing in like a noose, that closeness felt like something borrowed. Something fleeting. Maya heard footsteps and turned to see Sloane walk in, her expression unreadable. "Coffee?" Maya asked. "Please." She poured a cup and handed it over, their fingers brushing just enough to make Maya's chest tighten. "They're all packing," Sloane said. "I heard your cousin leaving already."
"Yeah."
"It's almost over." Sloane nodded slowly. "It went fast." "Too fast," Maya whispered. They stood in silence for a few moments, the smell of toast and coffee surrounding them like a blanket they didn't know how to wrap around each other. Finally, Sloane looked up. "You ever think about what happens next?" Maya's throat tightened. "Every second." And I don't know," Maya said honestly. "I go back to my apartment. You go back to yours. We go back to our routines. But it won't feel the same." "It can't," Sloane said. "Not after this." "So, what do we do?" Sloane took a sip of coffee, then looked out the window. We try. Maya studied her face. Even if you get the offer? Even if I get the offer. That's not what you said yesterday. Yesterday, I was afraid I'd regret choosing you. Today, I'm afraid I'll regret not choosing you. Maya didn't realize she'd stopped breathing until she had to remind herself to inhale. Before she could respond, her mother walked in. She looked between them, not unkindly, and smiled gently. Breakfast is ready, she said. Come eat. They followed her into the dining room where a spread of pancakes, eggs, toast, and fruit was already laid out. The family was scattered, quieter than usual, the mood softer. Maybe the storm had changed more than just the weather. Maya sat beside Sloane. This time their chairs were close. Her hand brushed Sloane's under the table, not out of performance, but out of want. Real, gentle want. Halfway through the meal, her grandmother cleared her throat. Sloane, she said, her voice surprisingly firm. Yes. Sloane looked up cautiously. I just wanted to say thank you for taking care of our Maya. Maya blinked.
Sloane did too.
I didn't. You did, her grandmother interrupted. I've never seen her so herself. It's like you brought her out of hiding. The words landed like soft thunder. Around the table, others nodded. Jill smiled. Her father gave a single approving nod. Even Diane, after a long pause, offered a quiet, "She's different around you." In a good way. Maya reached for Sloane's hand and held it tight. I told you, she whispered. They'd come around. I didn't believe you, Sloane whispered back. But I wanted to. After breakfast, the slow unraveling of the weekend began. Bags packed, hugs exchanged, cars loaded. Sloane stood beside Maya on the porch, her bag over her shoulder, her eyes on the gravel road. I have to go, she said. I know. I'll call you. You better. And I meant it. Last night. Every word. I know, Maya said, swallowing the lump in her throat. Me too. They kissed once, gently. Not like a goodbye, like a promise. Then Sloane turned, walked to her car, and got in. Maya stood on the porch, arms crossed, wind in her hair, watching her go. Watching the storm she hadn't expected and the love she hadn't planned for drive away down the long gravel road. But something in her knew. This wasn't the end. It was only the space between chapters. 3 days. That's how long it had been since Maya had seen her. Since she watched Sloane drive away from the lake house, her figure shrinking in the rearview mirror, her presence lingering like perfume on Maya's clothes. 3 days back in her apartment, surrounded by normal things, her couch, her favorite mug, the quiet hum of city traffic outside the window, and none of it felt right. Maya went back to work, sat at her desk, opened her laptop, and stared at empty documents while her chest ached in ways she couldn't describe. The apartment was colder without Sloane's hoodie draped over a chair. The city louder without her voice laughing in Maya's ear. It was like someone had pressed pause on the only part of her life that had felt awake in years. Until Wednesday at 4:12 p.m., when her phone lit up with a message. Sloane, there's a place on 8th and Carmine. Coffee strong. Quiet corner booth. Meet me there? No explanation. No preamble. Just a string of words that hit Maya in the ribs like a wave. Her hands trembled as she typed. Maya. What time?
Sloane now.
Maya didn't think. She just moved. 20 minutes later, she pushed open the glass door of a small cafe tucked between a bookstore and a florist. The scent of espresso hit her like memory. She spotted Sloane instantly, sitting in the far corner, black sweater, messy bun, fingers wrapped around a mug like she was trying to warm more than just her hands. Their eyes met, and for a moment, everything inside Maya went still. Sloane stood. She looked tired, but beautiful in that undone way that Maya had fallen for long before she ever admitted it. Hi, Maya said softly as she slid into the booth. Hi, Sloane echoed. A beat passed.
2.
You look like you haven't slept, Maya added. I haven't, Sloane said. Not well, anyway. Me neither. They both laughed quietly. Awkward. Familiar. Real. I got the offer, Sloane said, getting right to it. Maya's stomach dropped. Did you take it? Not yet. Maya blinked. Why not? Because every time I reach for the pen, I think about you. About us. About the lake house, and how it felt to wake up next to you, and how I'm scared I'll never feel that again if I leave. Maya looked down at her hands. I don't want to be a reason you give something up. You're not, Sloane said. You're a reason I want more. The words hit harder than Maya expected. I've never wanted to plan around someone, Sloane continued. But I want to build a life that includes you. If you'll let me. Maya's eyes stung. I don't know how to do that either. Good, Sloane said. Then we'll figure it out together. Silence again. But not empty this time. Then, come over tonight, Sloane said. No plans, no pressure. Just let's not be strangers again. Maya exhaled, a slow release of the breath she didn't know she'd been holding since Sunday. Okay. I want to see where this goes. Even if it's messy? Especially if it's messy. Sloane smiled, and it wasn't the smirk or the practiced confidence Maya had first noticed at the office. It was something softer, vulnerable.
Real.
I missed you, Maya admitted. I miss pretending to hate how much I missed you, Sloane said. But I did. Every minute. They sat in the booth until the coffee went cold.
Talking.
Touching hands across the table. Letting the city exist around them without urgency. And when they walked out together into the soft blue light of early evening, Maya knew this wasn't an epilogue. This was a beginning. Maya stood in the doorway of her apartment, barefoot, holding a half-empty mug of tea, watching the light shift across the floor as the afternoon turned to gold. The city hummed outside, alive and indifferent. But inside her chest, there was only one question, looping like a quiet song. Will she come? It had been 2 days since the cafe. 2 days since Sloane had held her hand across the table and said, we'll figure it out. 2 days of waiting, not for a text, not for a call. For something bigger. For a choice. And then the knock came. 3 soft raps. Like hesitation. Like hope. Maya opened the door, already knowing. Sloane stood there with a duffel bag on one shoulder and a cardboard box in her hands. She looked nervous.
Determined.
You came, Maya said. Told you I would. Is that? Maya gestured to the box. My coffee mugs. And the sweater you love. You brought mugs. Figured we'd need them. Since I'm moving in. Maya's breath caught. You're sure? I turned down the contract this morning. Sloane, I told them I was building something else now. Something that doesn't pay in bonuses or prestige. She stepped forward, eyes fierce and full. I'm choosing you. Every day. Even when it's hard. Especially then. Maya's hands reached for her before her mind caught up. The kiss was soft, certain, warm like sunlight on cold skin. They didn't speak for a while.
Didn't need to.
Hours later, the apartment was full of boxes, half opened, coats slung over chairs, takeout containers on the counter. Maya sat cross-legged on the floor, watching Sloane wrestle with a stubborn drawer. You're really here, Maya said. I'm really here. So, what now? Now, Sloane said, pulling her down beside her. We live. A week later, Maya brought Sloane back to the lake house. Not for a fake weekend. Not for damage control.
Just because she wanted to.
It was her mother's birthday, and the whole family was there again. The noise, the chaos, the familiar hum of a family that still didn't always get it right, but was trying. This time, Sloane wasn't introduced as her girlfriend, with rehearsed stories and memorized jokes. She was just Sloane, the woman Maya loved. And when Di made a comment about cohabitation and rushing into things, Maya didn't flinch. We're happy, she said. That's enough. And shockingly, Diane didn't argue. That night, after cake and candles and laughter, Maya and Sloane stood out on the porch again, shoulder to shoulder, wine glasses in hand. Do you think we'll ever tell people how this started? Maya asked. Never, Sloane said. We'll take that secret to the grave. Maya laughed, leaning her head on her shoulder. You know, Sloane said, there's something kind of beautiful about it. The fake dating part. The fact that we had to pretend to find something real. Maya turned to her, eyes soft. I think I knew the first time you kissed me. Same. Even if I was panicking. Even if I was pretending not to care. Sloane slipped her fingers through Maya's. No more pretending. Never again. They kissed under the soft porch light, with the sounds of family echoing inside, with the stars blinking above them like witnesses. No lies. No fear. Just two women who had faked a love story and ended up writing one no one could ever script.
This was home now.
Not the lake house.
Not the city.
Not a place. A person. Her. The smell of basil hit first. Then garlic. Then that familiar warmth of late summer air drifting through the open kitchen window, carrying with it the quiet hum of the city outside. Maya stood barefoot on the cool tiles, stirring a pot of tomato sauce with one hand, the other absently tucking a strand of hair behind her ear. The apartment had changed since that first night Sloane moved in. It looked like them now. There were mismatched coffee mugs in the cabinets, Sloane's records stacked next to Maya's books, throw blankets that clashed in color, but not in comfort. And photos, too many probably, pinned to the fridge, lining the hallway. Most of them were small moments. Maya laughing at something off camera. Sloane holding a glass of wine and looking up like someone had just called her name. Their hands tangled over a breakfast table. Messy hair, sleepy eyes. Real things. Normal things. Smells amazing in here. Sloane's voice came from the doorway, low and warm like it always got at the end of a long day. Maya didn't look up. Don't flatter me yet. I haven't burned it.
Yet.
Sloane walked over, pressed a kiss to her cheek, and leaned against the counter beside her. She was still in her work clothes, dark slacks, a button-down rolled up at the sleeves, hair in a loose bun that was already starting to fall. She looked exhausted. And beautiful. Long day. Maya asked. Meetings, emails, a crisis over font choices. Tragic. Truly. Sloane reached for the spoon. Can I? Absolutely not, Maya said, pulling it away. You still don't understand the concept of stirring gently. Rude. Accurate. Sloane smiled, leaning in close. You know what I was thinking today? That you should let your girlfriend finish cooking before making out with her? No, Sloane took the spoon and set it aside, then gently turned Maya to face her. That it's been a year. Maya blinked. Since what? Since I moved in. Since we stopped pretending. It hasn't been that long. It has. August 14th. You were wearing that ridiculous sweater with the strawberries on it. It's not ridiculous. It is. And I love it. Maya smiled, her hands settling on Sloane's waist. A whole year. With you. And you still haven't run. I'm getting slower in my old age. You're 34. Exactly. Maya laughed. I don't feel like I thought I would, she admitted softly. How did you think you'd feel? I don't know. Like it would wear off. Like we'd go back to who we were before. Do you want that? God, no. Maya leaned her forehead against Sloane's. I feel safe. Like myself. But more. Sloane's hands slid up her back. I was thinking about that too. How easy it would have been to say no. That weekend. At the lake. But you didn't. Because even back then, I think I knew. You weren't something I'd recover from. Maya closed her eyes, heart full. Come sit with me, Sloane said suddenly, taking her hand. She pulled Maya out to the small balcony, where the city stretched below them in golden tones. The plants were overgrown, the chairs didn't match, and the light string above them flickered like it was dying. But it was home. I know I'm not easy, Sloane said quietly. And I don't always say the right thing. Or show up in the perfect way. But I try. Every day I try. You don't have to be perfect, Maya said. I don't want perfect. I want you. Sloane reached into her pocket and pulled out something small. A ring. Not in a box, not on one knee, not surrounded by candles or violins or fanfare. Just a thin silver band, worn between her fingers. It's not an engagement, she said quickly. I mean, not officially. It's not a proposal.
Yet.
Maya stared. Then what is it? It's a promise. That I'm here. That I'll keep being here. That I'll keep choosing you. Maya's throat burned. Sloane, you don't have to say anything. I just wanted you to have something real. Something small. Something true. Maya took the ring, held it between her fingers like it might shatter. It's perfect. It's us, Sloane said.
Messy. Simple.
Real. Maya slid it onto her finger, and when she looked back up, her eyes were full. Come here, she whispered, pulling Sloane into her lap. They kissed like the city didn't exist. Like time had paused just for them. And maybe it had. Maybe for once, the world had gotten quiet long enough for two people to hear exactly what their hearts had been saying all along. That love doesn't need to be loud to be certain. That the most extraordinary stories are the ones we never meant to write. And that sometimes, just sometimes, pretending to love someone is how you find the kind of love you never imagined was real. The kind you never let go of. The kind that stays. If you enjoyed this content and want to support the channel in a special way, try clicking the thanks button below. It's the one with the heart and $sign icon. With super thanks, you can make a direct contribution to the channel, which helps me keep creating awesome videos for you.